development of the technology and all those things. Yeah, we see that the newspapers and magazines were forced to reckon with in the society. So with the growing technology, we notice that even the existence of the media has grown. There is a demand for the media. However, we see that the advances in technology expose us to more and more media. Yeah. So it was in the beginning, it was the traditional media, the folk media, then the newspaper media, then the print media, then the magazines, then we have television, so on so forth. Okay, the technology has brought it. Now, the use of technology and digital literacy go hand in hand. Technology allows us for the greater expansion of mass media outlets, starting with the internet. But we also must consider that platforms like social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the list was seamless. So there are so many platforms where we have to see that the technology has given us our greater platforms, and also there is a scope for the expansion in terms of media outlets, and it could be related to offer the services or to be part of your business. So there are certain issues and trends in media literacy. So what are those? When we are saying media literacy, consists of practices that allow people to access, critically evaluate, and create or manipulate media messages. So media message is not restricted to one medium, and it is not understood as a set of competencies. But then we see that media literacy education is used to advance competencies and is intended to promote awareness in the media influence world. So here we are trying to understand that what is influencing us, if so, why it is influencing us, why we have to get influenced. So here, when we have a media literacy, then you as consumer, or as you are having a consumption of the messages, you have to be in a position to understand what is why are you accessing it, how it is accessible to you, and at the same time we have critically understand and evaluate it. This critical thinking has totally gone from our society, unfortunately. Yeah, so we need to have a critical valuation of the subject what you are having. Then also create. We always create something for the good, and for when we have our own agenda, then we manipulate. So media organizations now, instead of creating information, we see that it has been manipulated. But then whether it is a manipulated information, or whether it is a created information, whether it is a need based, whether it is a user based, all those aspects have to be understood by a person who is having a media consumption in his day-to-day life, in his or her day-to-day life. Therefore, we see that there is a need of media literacy. So, media literacy education is part of the curriculum in the United States and European Union as part of the ID, that is interdisciplinary approach, where global community of media scholars and educators engage in knowledge sharing through scholarly and professional journals and national membership association. So that is why they are advanced country and developed country, where we see that they have as part of the curriculum media literacy in the developed country. And when we see in EU, we see that though it is interdisciplinary approach, yeah, but then we see that there are exchanges, time on time exchange and information updation of how the media literacy should grow, and what is the awareness level. All those things are been there because they are maintained for the professional journals, and as well as we see that there is a national membership association. So as the media increasingly mediates, there is a growing emphasis on the emerging that the people media should be media literate. It is not only to engage in the society, but also to see that that media is of our daily life, whether we like it or not, and therefore we cannot deny it. So in that situations, in these circumstances, or in this scenario, we see that as there is an increasing mediation through the media, or information is passed through the media, there is a growing emphasis to ensure that you have a media literacy. Here we see that in this digital age, media literacy is much needed, and it advocates should grab the opportunity with both the hands, and see that we are serving the cause with all the energy. In the face of multiple problems of hate speech, or cyberbullying, or hacked YouTube content, or fake news, etc., we are witnessing urgent calls to manage the media environment better, especially to regulate the internet. Yeah. So now that our media, our lives, our media, everything is related to that tech-related world, there is an urgent need. So, what is the aim of the media literacy? What so what are the aims that we see if we take up a media literacy? The first is that the media literacy will have give the ability to fully use media technology. It will fully express oneself using this technology with judgment when consuming media, and it will reflect both as a producer and consumer of the media. Moral and ethical behavior within the media environments can be understood. So this is how we see that there is this is the aim of media literacy we come across. Then, so then what are the issues of media literacy? Why we have to have a literacy? Yes, of course, on a one hand, there is a growing demand. But what are the issues? Education is also growing, but do we have some issues into that one? Yeah, but it is not related to open as it is, we have on the media. So what are those certain issues there where we need to, there is a necessity for us to have a media literacy? So we see that, as there are positive strides in the media and the technology, but there are also as well negative impact also. So as we say, as a coin has two sides similarly, the media also has got an advantage and disadvantage. So despite many positives, there is a risk and issue within the world of media. Therefore, there is a need for a cautiously pick up and share, this risk, share and see that we come out of that risk to the maximum and conserve our information and see that we are potentially not into the problematic. One second. Yeah. So what are the issues? Yeah. Can anybody say what are the issues we are facing because of the social problem? Hello.
Fake news
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mental
Yes.
problems and
Yeah.
internet using
Yeah. Yeah.
more children also.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am,
So more
what
than
about exploitation of right to privacy, ma'am?
exploitation of, yes, right to privacy also. Exactly.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah. That I think you all are second years. So in the first year you might have learned about the media ethics and laws. No, in that we have discussed about the right to privacy and all the rights related to IT.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Journalism, moral
Yeah.
principles.
Yeah, yeah. So here, when we are talking, as rightly said by you, it is something like related to the fake news, yeah, which has become, our daily routine. So when sometimes we will now they are not far off days where we should we think of the message what we are reading and what we will be forwarding also, because that is how the news articles are circulated or the information. So fake news is the major kind of issue in the internet era. So fake news and disinformation have become a widespread and we are not able to differentiate between the real and the fake news. The media we consume shapes our opinions on many different important points, including politics, healthcare, and current events. Do you agree with this? That media helps us in making our own opinion and perspective and shapes our opinion in terms of politics, healthcare, and current events? Yes,
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 ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
exactly. Like
Ma'am, what
example,
is the difference between misinformation and disinformation?
see, though they are part of the fake news, misinformation is the term, as it is a self-explanatory, it is misleading. Disinformation is something where it should have some impact, but misinformation is related to the misleading thing, and disinformation is related to, fake kind of manipulated information. Now, what is the difference between this? When we are saying misinformation, if you go back to the COVID era, Yeah, we had so much of, what is that CADA to be taken to protect your health, and so much of vaporization to be done and all those things, and that
Okay.
later on led, so that is a misinformation. But when it is coming to a disinformation where there is a manipulated, yes, because of this particular XYZ, there was a reason why there is increase in the COVID, is a disinformation. Yeah,
Okay, ma'am.
so there
Okay.
is a silver line meaning, yeah, difference. So yes, we agree that, media definitely shapes our opinions in terms of political. Yes, is Congress better, or TRS is better, or TRS is better, or why which political ideology will be influenced with. So it is definitely shaping, and whatsoever, if there are current events, we need to take into cognizance that, without media we cannot have a knowledgeable society, because media not only does the entertainment and information and education, but also updates about the happenings around our the happenings around us, so that we are updated by our current events. Yeah, so that way. So the last thing we want is to base our important opinions on lies and misinformation. Platforms such as Instagram and Facebook allow rapid sharing of information, which gives news a chance to spread quickly, often making the fake news seem believable. This is what we have encountered. We have also, witnessed it, isn't it? There are so much of fake news giving you, and especially when it is related to one religion or one political party, we have seen such kind of instances happening. Agreed? Yeah. Then we have media bias. So as we explore the blog even post in understanding the media bias, it is observed that it is an ongoing issue with the media industry. Media bias is the result of biased opinions of the news distributors by selecting stories and events that gets covered in the media space and time. See, when now you say, why can't we talk about the ones because under the constitution, only under Article 19(1)(a), we have a right to freedom of expression and speech, right? So tomorrow you can have your own blog, right? So there you will be having your own opinion. So in that instance, then if it is when you are putting into a society, then it should be catering and it should be neutral, but you cannot be biased. It is an opinion-based article, so we can, for instance, say that okay, that can be your opinion. We respect your opinion, but your opinion cannot damage the society. What we have to understand. So media bias is something good. Talking about somebody, some good and talk. So when you are not able to talk good about anybody, don't talk bad. Is what a human ideology, right?
Yes, ma'am.
in Telugu, madam, in ABN channel and practicing media bias there in Telugu states. Ma'am.
Once. So it is an extremely important issue to tackle. This media bias is an extremely and important issue to tackle. By no knowledge of media literacy, it will make you to end up with wrong impressions also. So it could misinterpret the events that are unfolding with the inherent media bias. Journalists and news producers often paint situations in light that favors one side of the story. So you have to ensure that you should never have a one-sided story. Then we have mental health concerns. Yeah, mental health concerns. In, when we come across some incidents where we open it and we get disturbed, those messages are called as mental health concerns. Sadly, we see that a lot of media available today poses a threat to the mental health of the young individuals. For example, studies shown a link between heavy and social media use and anxiety and depression. Along with the risk of bullying and harassment online, there is also a pressure comparing yourself to everyone else and social media platforms. Influencers are more prominent over all social media platforms, and we see that they're trying to follow it. So we see that when we are indirectly slipping into anxiety and depression and always trying to compare with other people. So therefore, our mental health is disturbed. Then we see that internet and media access. Yeah. Another thing to consider is the access to media and internet. For many of us, having a strong Wi-Fi connection and the technology to access does not seem like a luxury. However, there are many people who do not have such a privilege. So if we have also yesterday, we have the connectivity problem also. So we cannot rule out that if you are rich and everything is there and you are able to afford it, that the internet and the media access is 100% sure, but then we cannot rule out, okay, 90% is what we can say that you have a better access. But when we say that it is a digital era, so everybody should have the similar access, which in wherein we see that there are certain technical issues and people are not able to have an access. So when we see that, when exposed to media, these people struggle to because they are not in contact and they come on and off. So they are not able to understand how the messages are flowing. So therefore, there is a threat and there is underlying fear always to see that they will not be able to understand the real information. So therefore, we see that there is a necessity for us to have and media literacy. Now, let us understand what are the trends in media literacy. So, the trends in media literacy are inclusivity, virtual and augmented reality, transparency and authenticity, commercial via, commerce via social media platforms. So, these are the issues we see that one. The internet gave birth to the social media that took the real world of communication into a different orbit by revolutionizing the way people connect. Social media offers a range of platforms that almost everything that a living human being needs to sustain in life. This extremely dynamic virtual world revolves around social media and keeps changing. So here it is crucial to keep with the updated trends of all the social media platforms. So what do you mean by inclusivity? Social media platforms are the blessings in disguise for the world where their own pros and cons. These platforms do have a place that talks about the bringing revolutions. Yeah, we have seen that Arab revolution, right? So the trend is that because of the technology, if you remember in Egypt there was Arab spring, upspring in a country wherein because of the social media they were able to get a democratic rule. So that way it will get all the people get connected onto the common platform. Then we have virtual and augmented reality. So today's world is what? Artificial intelligence. Yeah, that is all related to the virtual world. Okay. So basically a glorified form of artificial intelligence curated specially for the audience to entertain, which is the most emerging trends of the social media. See this, what is this we are talking about? What are those things that have been banned? PUBG. Yeah, PUBG and all those things. Then we had this blue whale, red whale, what all those things. And those are the things that are, increasing. But then we have to see that they should be used very wisely. Then we see that, because it is online media, we also see that, there is there it is about the authenticity and the transparency of the business and the influencers. So it just like that they cannot say or claim something. So and the social media has become the best platforms for the commerce, that is for the businesses, because every organization is now having an online contact and customer care and the feedback and all those things. So thus it gives a very big scope for them. Then the next topic is media distant languages and codes. So, what do you mean by this? Language consists of the words used in the structured and conventional way and convened by speech, writing, or gesture. Media language is the manner by which the significance of a media messages are passed to the crowd. Language plays a key role in effectively communicating the message with each media entity using different language styles to send messages across. So here we are talking about that, when we are talking, when we are talking, trying to communicate. So media, in the media, we have a very significant role of language. The Hindu paper uses the most polished English language, whereas the Deccan Chronicle prefers simple sentence and vocabulary to reach the audiences. So how media is using the languages also, yeah, they are using the languages depending upon their audience user. And apart from that languages, written languages, we also see the signs and images in media as which play an important role, and they are part of the media. Modern media linguistics examines not solely the written communication of the media but also media speech. Media linguistics includes the study of traditional mass media text, just as online and other written and symbolic tools used to construct or suggest meaning in media forms. So, with the growing technology, we see that there is so much of it is not only in the written form. For example, if you take if you take newspapers, so how newspapers there, what are the trends we see in the newspapers? That from the written form it has come into a graphic, into a color, it is a glossy and all those, so those are the trends. Now when it is coming to the e-paper, again we see there is a difference in their presentation. So they are making it more attractive. So we see that the languages, the presentation, every style is changing. So the language, but then it is all related to the audiences or the readers or the viewers. Then what are the codes to be followed? The code and convention of media language, how they develop and become established as a style or genre. So now what, as we are growing with the technology now, earlier in the emails, we used to say good morning, please find the attachment. Now because of this growing technology and the jargon, so now where do we have come? Yeah, GM, PFA. I don't know whether you have come across or not, but I have come across, and I was really taken aback that today now we don't even have a time to say good morning also. And please find. In the beginning, I was shocked. What is? I was trying to break that code language of PFA. What is this PFA? PFA. Then I called up that respective person. I said, "What is PFA?" I didn't ask anything related. Then because it didn't click to me, I'm not that active user, so I didn't click to me. So these are the courses. And for how are you, yeah. So now they started you is only that you letter being used. So these are the courses that we are seeing that are coming into existence, yeah. If you are able to understand, you will understand. If not, people like me have to pray, then finally call the person for the clarification. So then we have audience response to media vary. So the audience response to the media vary, which is a very big problem that we are not able to solve it. So what is audience response? Audience response could be a kind of interaction related to the utilization of audience response system to form interactive between a presenter and its audience. To media producers, the audience reaction is very important because without the audience, there is no media worth its name. So media means audience, audience, if audience, then only there is a media. So that is so much of a we have an importance. If newspapers don't have the readers, then the media doesn't exist. Okay, we have seen that so many age old. Just 1 week back, I came across one patrika in Telangana which ran for 150 years, and suddenly they have shut down. Which has a century old history, is not able to compete, or there could be any problem. So how how see, when we lose our favorite thing, we get directly or indirectly, we get attached to the media. Now if you are a newspaper reader, at that particular time you have that urge, I should know what is the news. That is how we develop our habits. But then, if there is no audience, to sustain it is a challenge. So we see that there comes the end of that particular media house. So media plays a very important role. So understanding how media audiences respond to different products, then why there is an audience for particular XYZ channel or XYZ program. Yeah. If you come across, you have that Zabardast good for nothing program. No? Are you aware of that one? Zabardast program. Yeah. So in that one you see that that is in a very bad taste and a black humor. I don't know whether you are aware or not. Like, Kartika Deepam, Portal number 1, what all those things we have.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
all,
ma'am. They will talk.
and indirectly they are, trying to inculcate the old age practice and the superstitious things among the people. So you have an audience response, and that is the reason the media, instead of going socially responsible, they are going, they have got an addiction to those things, and whether they like or dislike, the programs are going. Yeah. 1 second, ma'am. So what we are seeing, see, if you have seen that Zabardast history, it is such a nasty program with a very bad taste and very black humor. But we are liking it because the audience is not a media literate. The audience is not able to understand. Okay, to have a fun, okay. But at the same time, you demean your culture, you demean your values, that is not accepted. So anyhow, we see that there is um audience response in the media where it can vary. So there are few theories on how audience responds to the media products. The hypodermic needle theory, model theory, is a theory of communication that suggests a message that is displayed or extruded via media product is directly accepted into the minds of receivers, regardless of consent or resistance. The theory is also, yeah. So we see that this a hypodermic needle model theory is something where yeah, there are two theories to be frank. This is about the hypodermic model and the magic bullet. Magic bullet is what yeah, it is something like it plays the media plays like a gun. So it injects some idea into your mind, and that it's been taken by the audiences.
Yes, ma'am. Germans use it that theory.
Yes, yes, yes.
World War.
Yeah, yeah. So we have many communication research and scholars talking about the media influence and the media magic theory, and also about the hypodermic needle theory. But then the social cause is totally different. But unfortunately, we see that the effect is on those theories where we see that the message is not only passing through, but it is getting injected. So this is what we see, one kind of a theory. Then we a direct example of can be of a 1938 broadcast, the War of the Worlds, which spread panic across the American mass audience due to its unsettling and nature. However, much controversy still remains around this, as the audience still had a diverse and widespread view on the film, even though the reactions were noticeable. The theory is therefore just a theory and has many factors that can prove and disprove such postulations. Then other thing what we see is, as an audience, no matter the time or the place, we are constantly receiving passive and active media throughout the day. Be it the branding of the computers or the advertising products, or any political party, or anything like an entertainment or something, we see that the audience is directly into an active and a passive consumption. Then we also see that desensitization theory suggests that depending on what we watch and when we watch, it is a comparison with other media products of that genre from a different era we react. So you might have a similar views, but we might not like it. But at the same time, we might like it a similar program on some other channel, like for example, debates. These are people on the NDTV, but at the same time, we might have on some other program. We might like that program a lot, not this program. So that is how the media, the audience will be varying. Then, with the advent of the technologies and formats, most importantly, the computer games and websites, audience have become more interactive users of the media, which are in control and active in their choice. So here we see, though, now if you don't like PUBG, then you will go to what is that, the Candy Crush, right? So there is so much of choice. So there is always a variation in the audience response. However, the flip side is that the uses and gratification theory, an approach as to how consistently media audience seeks to satisfy people is always to be understood. This uses and gratification theory, wherein we are talking about where we talk about what we are seeing. We don't know what it is. Now, I had a friend who had seen that movie Sultan. So what she was so much influenced by that one that she was so satisfied. She used to keep watching that movie in a regular and continuous frequencies, constant frequencies. So by that, what we understand, it's an channel of entertainment. But when we say what are we trying to do by saying that we are trying to satisfy ourselves. Tomorrow you might not, somebody might be interested in singing. So why do we see the models, Indian Idol programs and all those things? Somewhere we like to listen to them. Somewhere we are satisfied in terms of the content, or sometimes in the we couldn't do it is they are doing. So that way we try to satisfy. So that is called as use and gratification. So there are different levels in use and gratification. I guess you might be aware, cognitive 4 or 5 levels more. So intellectual, cognitive levels and all those things. So that is how the audience vary, because they have the different interests or the different genres impress the media users. Then we we have to understand what media is trying to put our values in us. Is media embedded with any values? So media is embedded when a culture becomes progressively dependent on this mass media to meet their needs and fulfill their daily duties and responsibilities. An understandable assumption would be that media garnered through the internet is more embedded into our culture than the traditional forms of communication, like television and radio broadcast and print media outlets, because internet media is perceived to be interactive, a collaborative discourse wherein the user is both a consumer and content provider. So internet users, whether replying to a posted article or actively contributing to the news through the blogs and independent outlets, appear to be participating in a medium that is a two-way street, in contrast to the traditional medium where it is only a one way. So we also see that media is directly impacting when, so we are talking about the social media, because this social media is a two-way. Whether your post is right or wrong, nobody's bothered. But generally, if you see some news channels, or some the daily hunt channels, or daily hunt websites, under that they post. When we read some post, we have to understand why they have posted this one. So it is not about how genuine, authentic, credible, or sourceful your information is, but we try to comment on that one, right? So that way we see that social media is impacting us and also putting some embedded values in us, and is trying to influence our minds, because it's the two-way communication. But whereas in the traditional media, we don't see the two-way communication. Then let us understand the role of a media and agenda setting. You might have read about the agenda setting theory. Oh yeah, as part of the communication theories. So we know that media is the, yeah, yeah. So media, we understand, it has different forms, and also we see that it is a major channel. It is for the mass communication. This can include anything from a printed paper to the digital data, and encompasses art, news, educational content, and numerous other forms of information. So what is the agenda in the media? So agenda is described through agenda setting, which is the idea of what the public thinks yeah, public think is set by the media. The theory was first introduced by Dr. Maxwell McCombs and Dr. Donald Shaw in 1972. The theory focuses on how the media shapes how the viewers perceive the politics, and ultimately how they vote. When analyzing the agenda setting, there are two basic assumptions to be considered. So, what is the first assumption? That whether the media and the press filter and shape reality rather than reflect it. Then the second one is when the media focuses on just a few issues and subject, the public tends to perceive those issues are more important. Yeah. So this is about how the media is setting an agenda. So also, and let us understand what is the public opinion and influence of public opinion through media. When yeah, when a person reads or watches it can be a major factor how individual views the issues. With the modern access to a vast amount of news sources, people often choose to rely on specific media to guide them through the political work. Political elites such as news uh, anchors, reporters, talk shows, hosts, political pundits, and politicians can get an enormous amount of influence on many voters. This is especially true for voters whose views are already similar. You ever came about, Vox Populi? Ever heard of Vox Populi? Vox
Uh,
Populi?
yes, voice of the people or
Voice of
something.
Yeah,
God. People is the voice of God.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So
First,
generally,
first
when
year.
we have these elections and all those things, the reporters are going and asking what is your opinion and all those
Yeah,
things. So
yeah, they'll
they are
conduct a survey.
garnering, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they'll conduct a survey, but at the same time, they try to go to the common people and ask their opinion. So, what is that they are trying to convey? They are trying to find out what is the public opinion about. Suppose this instance, we have to understand in terms of the elections. So now we have elections coming up in the Gujarat, right? So you can see that the reporter will go and talk to the public, Janta ke saath. There are so many shows also that run, no, that
Yes, ma'am.
with the public and all those things. So that is the way how you garner the information related to try to take a public opinion. Now let us see the agenda examples of agenda setting. So the Afghanistan withdrawal in August September 2001, the most covered news item across the globe is the humiliating withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan. The news was reported in a breathless coverage with the urgency of impending doom. However, it was quite obvious that most people in different countries of the world, the return of undemocratic rule in Afghanistan has little no significance for their everyday lives. Even for the American people, there were pressing issues in their own lives, such as healthcare, hurricane damage, and flooding in New York. That took a back seat, and this frenetic coverage of the Taliban was the the latest news for them. So that is how it is trying to set an agenda because we see that we have many important issues, but at the same time, it's not the media is not giving or informing the first level or the second level agenda, and but they are trying to give some other agendas as part of their political motives. So this is how they have set the agenda, but there could be very much pressing issue. Yes, definitely, because we are part of a global village, we might have a concern, but when we are talking about it, we have to also understand that first how our media is trying to cater to our domicile people or within our own region, but not that that it is talking about the issues of the fanatic Taliban and all those things. So this is all about this media issues, ma. The next lesson we have role of books in media literacy. Yeah. So in this, we'll talk about, we try to understand and explain the etymology of books, then describe the history of books, understand the types of books. We should also elucidate books as a powerful media, discuss the role of books in media literacy. So what exactly is a book? A book is a set of written printed matter. So we see that it is a see, we might have everything, but if you don't have a written matter, you yourself take a just example. I'm trying to explain you, and if you don't have a book, then it is very difficult. Even for me to say the PDF is very difficult because I am the retention rate of on a mobile is very less, and my focus is getting divided. But if I have a hard copy in my hand, so that will give me more creativeness and more analysis power. So that way, we see that there is an importance of the books to exist in our day-to-day life. Then, what is the etymology of the book? The word comes, that is the origin. from the book. So that it comes from the Old English book, which in turns come from the Germanic root. So it is basically the Latin word codex, meaning a book in the modern sense. Originally meant block of wood. So the book is something related to the German, origin or something, and even it is related to something like Latin word. All these words have been originated from German and Latin, and we will be learning. Hmm? Yeah. So, do you agree that are we having any significance of books in our life?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
To
Unfortunately, no.
gain knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. See, okay, a source of income. Unfortunately, the youth is so just dependent on the Google search, and where they are not able to have apt information or understanding. But book will help you not only to improve your language, your vocabulary, your understanding level, but also it will develop help you in your focus, and also provide you with a critical and logical reasoning. So that is if you go back, if you go to old age, back into the time, we used to have a habit of reading the books.
Yes, ma'am. It is just like
Generally,
Yes, ma'am.
an unknown friend.
yeah, yeah,
And
no,
it gives us to visualize the things.
yeah, yeah,
Unlike the
visualize, and also that was we made a practice. We made a hobby. That was something. Okay, yes, of course. When you say that my hobby is reading book, means it's definitely we feel that okay, there's something kind of stuff in a person who reads a book, because you're aware, and it gives a visual representation. It gives an in-depth analysis. It gives any insightful information. So there are so many pros for that one. So that is the reason why we need to have a book. Unfortunately, even the book is coming into a PDF file now. With the advent
yes,
of the
ma'am.
technology, So
Mhm.
again, whether with no choice, we are stick to the mobile, but we are reading a book. Like we have what is that? Kindle, no? What is
Kindle,
that?
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Amazon
the Kindle.
Kindle.
Yeah, yeah. No, I try to read. Have you ever used that one, Kindle?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, see, it was good, while you're skimming through the pages, reading and all those things. But when I'm trying to write the research articles and all those things, I'm not able to focus. Might be that is
Mm.
my fault. But
No, that
certainly,
it cannot give that original impression as the book gives us.
yes, exactly. Yeah, because when we're, see, okay, for fun, if you're reading any magazine or novel, I think it's okay,
Yes, ma'am.
because you don't have to have a seriousness and all those things. But when we are trying to see for a better thing, then certainly these e-books are of not worth in the sense that they are not fetching us so much. So
Mhm.
we understand that the books, and every time we have seen that books play an important. If you go back to the history, also we have that manuscripts. Then we have with the modern manufacturing, we came into the printing. Then from when the printing came, then we came into the binding. Then we have you have to take the book into a finishing good format. So whenever I don't know about how much, see, apart from the schools and colleges textbooks, we have many books. Now, of late, after this corona, I'm seeing that there are so many authors coming up. Otherwise, in between, we didn't find so many authors coming up. Very rarely we have seen the books. How do you gauge that one? I'm reading that book reviews and all those in the newspapers. So I understood that okay, they are good authors also. There are still people are continuing to write also. So otherwise, we were only stick to what Chetan Bhagat and all those things. Only a few selected people.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes,
now
ma'am.
we are seeing that there is a rise in that reading, and I would also encourage you. Okay, if you don't write a book, but at least you have a habit of writing your own ideas, penning down your own ideas, because it will help you in some way or the other form.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we
Sure,
see that one.
sure.
Yeah. So we see that that was one form wherein we have seen. Now, because of the advent of the technology, what we see that from the manuscripts and all those things, we have also come into the digital platform. Yeah. So the digital platform. But then we see that books as a powerful media. Yeah, we see that books as a powerful media. How books can be a powerful media? In a so books as mass media are usually considered as a slow in their influence, but they may be the most overlooked medium in the program to shape opinion. A book commands and attention, whereas a brochure or an ad or a sponsored film seldom draws any. We respect well attention. We respect the way when we are coming across the brochures, pamphlets, that's very easy for you to take up. But it is about books, that means when we are talking about the printed material, there are certain categories. There are certain categories. There are certain categories which might not influence, but definitely there is this is a medium of this is a part of a mass media. A very popular notion is that ebooks in the future are going to be interactive and have lots of images and videos. They will be more of mix of TV and games. So you have seen the recent trend when in the newspapers, e-papers I'm talking about. They have started giving the voices also. In case if you're not able to read, you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
just on audio reading.
Yeah, we
Now
can.
you tell me that what is the point of having a e-paper when you're not able. The paper is something
They are
wherein we.
promoting ads, ma'am. For promoting ads, they are doing, ma'am. Exactly.
Yes, yes. So that is what this commercial point is dominating the media, wherein the
Yes, ma'am.
main focus and the core principles of media are just going away. And see, when you don't see, listening is something different, and reading is something different. You develop your intellectuality the more you read. So there are certain do's and don'ts, so we have seen that this is a trend, and we appreciate this. It has become okay for the people who don't understand a language. That is okay. Yeah.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
then but then how much the listening can work, and how much the media as a medium of mass communication can have leave an impactful role or a positive role in the society remains a very big question mark. So this is how we see that media is books are also part of the mass media. Then let us understand the role of books in media literacy. So journalists cannot know everything or remember everything. So they need to write down. That is what I'm saying. No, we need to write down our information in anticipation of our future needs. So we can listen, we can read them for a little time, but when we write, it is forever and ever. That we
Yes.
have. See, the best example is what on a lighter vein. I'm just saying. Savarkar's letter that was written to the British and all those things. So fortunately or unfortunately, it is something where we have, so where we can find those. So that was on a lighter vein, but on a serious note, we have many books. See, we don't know about the past, we don't know about the history, but those people when they have written the books, that has become a resource for us, and that gives us more information to us in the future. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So that way, we see that there is a role of, and as a journalist, we have so many things on our head, so we cannot understand, or we cannot, remember all the time. So we have to see that we make a habit of writing, and also we have to make a note of all the things of what we do. So it is often said that a reporter is a book as a contact books, whether it is real book or simply files on a computer or personal digital, a personal digital assistant. It serves the same purpose. So about a contact book, when we say, when you are a reporter, that means you are loaded with information, you are loaded with the contacts and all those things. So it is basically just an you have to see that keep updated of all the information what you know about your particular beat or area or something, so that you can have better a working style, and you can produce a good story. So okay. And then we see the other forms are the reference books, the journals, the dictionaries. Yeah. style books. These are all the general forms of the books that we see in as part of the media. So every organization has a different style. So what is that style? That style is how do they follow that style? Because they have a style book. So style book is something where every organization needs to follow their particular style. So Hindu paper has its own style. Yeah, at the same time, newspapers also have their own style. Then you know the dictionaries, then encyclopedias, then you have yearbooks, yeah, then you have gazettes, then you have biographies. So these are all the forms wherein we see that books are also part of the mass medium. Books are also are part of the mass medium, and we see there is a we need to have a media literacy as to understand how the media can play an important role in the society. Yeah. So this is 6th and 7th part we have completed. What is the 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. So we have other two classes remaining. That is the next week. No? So shall we continue this mass media and society another 8, 9, 10 for one day and 11, 12 in the second day.
Ma'am, can you repeat it, ma'am?
Yeah. Amma, no. See, we have other 4 lessons to be completed. So what
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
saying is that we'll take 2 in the next class and other
Oh,
2 in the next class, and we can wind up because after 11 we don't have any classes, no?
oh,
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we will continue. So if you have anything wherein you would like to interact, I would welcome your interaction, ma. Or shall we end the class because I have got some work?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. If any, any doubts or any clarification, please let me know. You can put a message. I'll get back to you.
Okay.